Welcome back to Yokayi Footy. Earlier on in the week, B caught up with North Melbourne star Yokayi Simpkin. Let's check it out.
Jai, thank you so much for joining us on Yokayi Footy, especially after you had a ripper weekend. It's a pleasure to have you on. We always ask who your mob and where you're from.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My mob, Yorta mob, and so I'm from up Merton way.
Definitely. What was it like growing up as a black fella?
The most thing, like growing up in a small country town, hanging out with friends and cousins. If you're Aboriginal, no one really questions you. But as soon as I moved down to Melbourne for boarding school, that's probably when my culture got questioned a lot. And because I'm light-skinned compared to a few of my cousins and stuff, and people I was hanging around, people were saying, oh, you're not really Aboriginal, or you're only a little bit Aboriginal, and things like that, which was sort of a bit of a shock to me when I moved to the city. But, I guess the more I sort of taught and help my friends and other people learn about our culture a little bit more, the easier it got for me.
What were the things that you put in place to cope with that?
I remember talking to a few friends at Scotch that I was with. It doesn't matter how much coffee you put in coffee, it's still coffee. So I was sort of using that example a fair bit.
Yeah, awesome. Some of the players I talked to, they said they had a bit of trouble kind of keeping up with training and everything like that. What did you do in order to make sure that you were at your optimal performance?
Yeah, it was definitely tough at times, especially because we didn't have no gym. And I actually went up to Kununurra with my girlfriend to where her and her family's from. So I was up there in nearly 40-degree heat every day. So at times it was tough, but we had a program to get through, and I just made sure I got through that as much as I could.
Yeah, awesome. And you had a pretty deadly game over the weekend. Do you have any goals set in place for your 2020 season?
Yeah, just consistency in my footy. I mean, I know I can have performances like I have in the last sort of couple of weeks, but in previous times when I'd have a couple of good games, the next weeks would be not as good. So my goal this year is to just sort of find that balance and keep it up. So when I have these couple of good games, not to fall away, and make sure I keep playing good footy throughout the year.
Awesome. And now tell us a little bit about the other mob on your team.
The main one's probably Jed Anderson that I've played the most footy with. And everyone knows who watches North Melbourne. He hits harder than most people. And playing with him, I know I can stand taller having Jed on my back. So, it's good. And him and Paul Ahern as well, who played on the weekend. Kyron Hayden on the weekend. We got a good little crew here at North, and couldn't be happier.
Tell us about the Never Surrender Guernsey for Sir Doug Nicholls round.
Yeah, so it's a really cool jersey. So we designed it last year. There's myself, Jed Anderson, Paul Ahern, Kyron Hayden, all the Aboriginal boys from the club. We all got together and sat down with Lorraine White and the designer of the jersey, and we all sort of put down our own little thing. So I think we all got our totems on there. We've got our tribes in there somewhere, and a word for family for each of us. So it's a really cool design, and really happy with how it come out.
Given over the weekend, we of course got a confirmation around a player getting COVID-19. Tell us a little bit about it.
I don't know really what to feel. I mean, it was a little bit scary at first because we shared a plane with Essendon the week before and flew to Sydney with them. So we were like, God, what's that going to mean for us? We didn't know if we were going to have to isolate for a couple of weeks or what was going to happen with the footy season. But as long as our games don't get cancelled, hopefully it doesn't bother us too much and we can keep playing footy. But I think we'll just have to wait and find out what the AFL do to come out with.
What has been your Yokayi moment? If you're familiar with what Yokayi is, it's like your outstanding, victorious moment, something that's absolutely stood out. What's been your Yokayi moment?
Probably my favourite moment was when I got to run out in my 50th game or on Indigenous round. I got to run out with my nephew and hold him while we were running through the banner and while everyone was running out with the song and stuff. So that was a pretty special moment for myself and my family, and my sister was standing there on the side of the ground who passed him to me, and that's probably one of my favourite moments so far in my footy career.
Jai, thank you so much for joining us on Yokayi Footy. We'll definitely be keeping a Yokayi on you, and good luck with the rest of your season.
And you too. Thank you very much.
What was that?
It's a Yokayi. Brought it out last week. Come on now. That's him.
No, brilliant job, B. Now, Craig, he's a young Indigenous man in a leadership group at North Melbourne. We don't see too many young black fellas in leadership groups. Why do you think that?
I'm not quite sure, but it's an absolute credit to Jai to be able to, be in the leadership group at such a young age as well. But I think just through the ranks and through my journey, I think, speaking on by myself and my experience. I probably didn't think I was a leader at a young age, and then probably guys grow into this. I think one that comes to mind is in Sonny Walters. You know how much of a great footballer he is, and you know what he means to the Fremantle Football Club. Early days,
we know how he started.
Yeah, had to learn his craft, but then how he's been able to turn it around is an absolute credit to him. So I think maybe the guys don't see themselves as leaders, but they certainly are, and you know we've certainly got a few mob that have fitted into that
leadership role. Yeah, and I guess just as a player, how do you see Jai Simpkin and where he can go to over the course of his career?
Yeah, I've really liked his journey. You know, last year I sort of seen him. He played in the midfield a little bit more, and then sort of he was back forward. So I really like him in the midfield and the grunt he brings. And as we saw, you know, he just brings a little bit of class through the midfield as well. So I think the sky's the limit for him.